Namaste. And the story is very long, but because I'm given 1 or 2 minutes, so I'll try to make it short. We are proud anyway to be the first kingdom adopting Hinduism very early in the century. And also we have the first king who is so ever entrusted in the priests coming and trade with the Champa kingdom. So the king left his title and went here to learn about Hinduism. And from then, we kept the tradition till nowadays. And we are one among the very few communities that still preserve Hinduism in Southeast Asia. And since a kid, I always have the sense that I am interested in India and wish that one day I will be here. Because seeing all the dances, all the movies from all over the world, but seeing India, I say, okay, that's a lot of music and this and that. This is quite strange, but I love it. And by chance, I say very good chance, beautiful chance that I am here and feeling like home, being welcomed like a brother, a long-lost brother that is still now here in front of you. So I hope that this connection will be strengthened, but not being lost once again.
Just another piece of information which you'll be happy to know. So like our friend from Vietnam, in this conference we also have a representation from Iraq, Yazidi Hindus, okay? So these, we have invited 5 gentlemen from Bangalore who are refugees in Bangalore. So they are here, not necessarily in this conference, but I thought we should know that there is, so again, the contact, formal contact with these communities, with the Yazidi Hindu communities, between us and between them was lost for last 1,000 years or so. So once again, I mean, this is something very positive and heartening that we have this community here. And I just wanted to share that information with you. We have 2 minutes left, right? So what I will do is we have a scholar and a very ardent devotee of Sanskrit, Pandit Vasant Gadgil. And I'll request him to sing a Sanskrit Geet, and we should join him. He'll give you instructions, and then we will start our session at 2:30. Thank you.
अर्धशतवर्षपूर्वं शिशूनां कृते विरचितं यद् गीतं लक्षशः छात्राः कर्नाटकराज्ये, गुजरातराज्ये, महाराष्ट्रराज्ये गायन्ति तत् सामूहिकं सर्वैः गातव्यम्. आओ बच्चे तुम्हें दिखाए एतादृशं हिंदी गीतं तस्येदं संस्कृतानुकरणं. सर्वे मया साकं मुक्तकण्ठं गायन्तु, आनन्दम् अनुभवन्तु, यदि शक्यं नृत्यन्तु. एत बान्धवा दर्शयामि वस् तेजो हिन्दुस्थानस्य अस्य मृत्तिका शिरसा वन्द्या भूमर्यं बलिदानस्य वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे उत्तरभागे रक्षणकर्ता नगाधिराजो विख्यातः दक्षिणदेशे पदक्षालको महासागरः प्रख्यातः पश्यत गंगा यमुना तीरम परम पावनम भूलोके स्थाने स्थाने यद्दिव्यत्वम नैव देवासुराणाम् अपि नाके एकमेव तत्स्थानं चैतत् देवानाम् अवतारस्य अस्य मृत्तिका शिरसा वन्द्या भूमिरेयं बलिदानस्य वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे। इयं दृश्यतां महाराष्ट्रभू इयं दृश्यतां महाराष्ट्रभू यत्र शिवाजी भूपो भूत् यस्य भवानी करवालेन म्लेच्छानां संहारो भूत् स्थाने स्थाने पर्वतभागे सामर्थ्याग्निः प्रकटो भूत् घोषो हर हर महादेव इति बाले बाले प्राविरभूत् कृतं हि लज्जा रक्षण कार्यं शिवेन हिंदुस्थानस्य अस्य मृत्तिका शिरसा वन्द्या भूमिरियं बलिदानस्य वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरम् एतबान्धवा दर्शयामि वस् तेजो हिन्दुस्थानस्य अस्य मृत्तिका शिरसा वन्द्या भूमिरियं बलिदानस्य वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं। निमिषकालः समाप्तः। नमो नमः।
नमस्कार। हिंदू एजुकेशन बोर्ड के इस छठे सत्र में आप सभी आमंत्रित सज्जनों का मैं स्वागत करता हूं। पिछले 5 सत्रों में जो सारा डिस्कशन हुआ, ज़्यादातर डिस्कशन इस बात पर था कि क्या करना चाहिए एजुकेशन क्षेत्र में, कैसे किया जाना चाहिए। अभी इस सेशन की जो खासियत है वो ये है कि वास्तव में हो क्या रहा है और कैसे गांव में और शहरों में किस तरीके के विद्यालय चल रहे हैं, किस तरीके की एजुकेशन दी जा रही है। तो जो एक्चुअल में हो रहा है, क्या किया जाना चाहिए, इसकी चर्चा तो बहुत हो रही है, लेकिन आज इस सत्र में विशेष रूप से आप लोगों को ये देखने को मिलेगा कि वास्तव में हो क्या रहा है, किस तरीके से तमाम संगठन जो हैं वो गाँव में और शहरों में शिक्षा दे पा रहे हैं। इस सत्र के चेयरमैन श्री डॉक्टर कृष्ण गोपाल जी, माननीय सर सह कार्यवाह श्री कृष्ण गोपाल जी का मैं स्वागत करता हूं। सहसार कार्यवाह श्री कृष्ण गोपाल जी एनवायरमेंटल साइंस में मास्टर्स करने के बाद संघ के प्रचारक हो गए और पिछले मुझे लगता है 30 वर्षों से लगभग संघ के प्रचारक की तरीके से काम कर रहे हैं। और आजकल इनके पास जो दायित्व है सह कार्यवाह का, सह सर कार्यवाह जी इस सत्र के हमारे चेयरमैन हैं।
In this 5th session, named as Learning by Sharing, I would like to invite Mr. Ambassador Kamlesh Arya, Registrar, University of Fiji. Mr. Arya is currently the Registrar and Lecturer of University of Fiji. He is the President of the Arya Pratnidhi Sabha of Fiji. Initially, he chose teaching as a career and was active within the Fiji Teachers Union. The later entered politics and became a member of parliament. Then he retired from politics in 2006. In 2008, he was appointed High Commissioner of the Republic of the Fiji Island to Australia. At present, Arya concentrates on social work for the Arya Pratnidhi Sabha of Fiji, carrying out administrative duties as its president, managing schools run by the Sabha, and conducting religious ceremonies. Second one is Shri Ramesh Shah, Coordinator, Ekal Global USA. Ramesh Shah is mechanical engineer by profession. He was a financial advisor with Morgan Stanley Smith Burnett till retirement. Now he is a full-time Vanaprasthi and looks after Ekal Vidyalaya as global coordinator. He was ex-chairman of Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation of USA. He is Swayamsevak and has involved in social services since college days. He was a volunteer during 1965 war to protect people during night Surat flood in 1968, opposing emergency in 1975 in Bharat as a member of Indian for Democracy and Friends of India Society International. Number 3, Shri Dilip Vasant Bhatekar. Shri Dilip Vasant Bhatekar is the National Secretary of Vidya Bharati. He has master's degree in history, English, sociology, and political science. He has written more than 500 articles in Marathi and English newspapers, journals, and magazines. He has delivered over 800 lectures for students, teachers, headmasters, parents, and school management committees. He took voluntary retirement at the age of 45 to devote full-time for Vidya Bharati. He is a member of Goa State Planning Board and Goa State Education Advisory Council. Pandit Bhatse Sital Maharaj, Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, Trinidad and Tobago. Pandit Bhatse Sital Maharaj is known for his teaching career and community work. He has master's degree in English and an executive diploma in school leadership and management. Pandit steadily progressed in his career from a teacher, high school principal, district school supervisor, 3, project and program manager, and then finally a special advisor to Minister of Education. He was the first Vice President, Sanatan Dharma Sabha, Trinidad and Tobago, President Pandit, Parish and spiritual leader. President Pandit, Parishad and spiritual leader. इस सत्र में अपने सामने 4 बड़े विद्वान लोग हैं और वे केवल विद्वान ही नहीं हैं, उन्होंने अपने अपने क्षेत्रों में एक अच्छा काम खड़ा करके दिखाया है और वे क्षेत्र के एक्सपीरियंस्ड लोग हैं। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में कैसे काम करना, शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में कैसे आगे बढ़ना, इस बात के वे मास्टर हैं। हम कल से डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं और इस डिस्कशन में हम लोगों ने कई सारे मुद्दे स्पर्श किए, टच किए हैं। एजुकेशन का सिस्टम कैसे हो, जो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स है वो कैसे चले, वेरियस कोर्सेज के बारे में, कुछ हद तक सिलेबस के बारे में भी ये चला है। ई लर्निंग, ग्लोबल लर्निंग, कॉम्पिटेंसी, क्वालिटी, इस सब के बारे में हमने अच्छी चर्चा की है। बंधु और बहनों, हम लोग जानते हैं कि शिक्षा का क्षेत्र बड़ा व्यापक है और एक अगली जनरेशन को डेवलप करता है। ये बात भी ठीक है, देश को एक क्वालिटी के वर्ल्ड क्लास लोग चाहिए, इंजीनियर्स चाहिए, डॉक्टर्स भी चाहिए, प्रोफेसर्स भी चाहिए, बिजनेसमैन भी चाहिए, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स भी चाहिए, साइंटिस्ट भी चाहिए। हर फील्ड में अपने को वर्ल्ड क्लास लोग चाहिए और वर्ल्ड क्लास लोगों के लिए सारे सिस्टम हम लोग चर्चा वार्ता में विचार कर रहे हैं। एक बड़ा क्वेश्चन है, बिग क्वेश्चन बिफोर अस इज व्हाट इज द मिशन ऑफ आवर एजुकेशन एंड व्हाट शुड बी द मिशन ऑफ आवर एजुकेशन। एक बड़ा प्रश्न है। What should the mission of our society? What should the mission of whole of this Hindu community? Whether a mission of Hindu community or mission of education can be two, or the mission of education or mission of the Hindu society should be one. The big question. We have to discuss, and we should discuss with experiments, with our knowledge, what we people are doing. These 4 intelligent persons are with us. They will tell us with their experiments what they have done here, what they have done in their various institutions. बंधुओं, एक बात जो सबको ध्यान में आती है अपने देश में वो यह है, सर्वत्र दिख भी रहा है, शिक्षा के संस्थान तो बढ़ रहे हैं, IITs बढ़ रहे हैं, IIMs भी बढ़ रहे हैं, कुछ एम्स भी बढ़ रहे हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज बढ़ रहे हैं, सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटीज भी बढ़ रहे हैं। हो सकता है 25-50 लाख अच्छे साइंटिस्ट, डॉक्टर्स और बढ़ जाए तो क्या यह भारतीय प्रज्ञा को तृप्त करेंगे? जो भारतीय प्रज्ञा है, भारतीय मानस है, भारतीय संस्कार है, भारत की एक दृष्टि है, उसको संतुष्टि मिलेगी? प्रश्न ये बड़ा है। और इसलिए ये जो शिक्षा का सिस्टम हमारे सामने चल रहा था, उस सिस्टम ने क्या पैदा किया, क्या नहीं किया, बहुत कुछ अच्छा भी किया, बहुत कुछ छूट भी गया। एक लंबा डिस्कशन का मुद्दा हमारे आंखों के सामने, हमारे सामने है। मैं चाहूँगा हमारे ये चारों अच्छे वक्ता लोग हैं, इन विषयों को भी अपने साथ जोड़ेंगे और अच्छे डॉक्टर्स, इंजीनियर्स, प्रोफेसर्स, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, मैनेजर्स, इनके साथ साथ एक अच्छा मनुष्य कैसा होता है वो उन्होंने अपने अपने क्षेत्रों में कैसे डेवलप करने का प्रयत्न किया, इस विषय को वे जरूर स्पर्श करेंगे। तब लर्निंग विद शेयरिंग, हम सारे दुनिया भर में अपना मिशन क्या है इसको और अच्छे से समझ सकेंगे। मैं समझता हूँ भारत की संस्कृति, भारत का दर्शन, ये केवल और केवल स्किल डेवलपमेंट का नहीं है। स्किल डेवलपमेंट के साथ साथ उसका स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट ये बहुत आवश्यक है। उसके बिना एक इनकम्प्लीट एक पर्सनैलिटी डेवलप हो जाती है, एक इंडिविजुअल तो डेवलप होता है, उसकी कंप्लीट पर्सनैलिटी, एक बड़ा व्यक्तित्व, बड़ा मनुष्य विकसित नहीं हो पाता। एक बड़ी समस्या एक सारा विश्व इसको देख रहा है, झेल रहा है। अपने अपने अनुभवों से हमारे इन चारों बंधुओं ने कैसा प्रयोग किया, उन अनुभवों को कैसे आगे बढ़ाया, मैं समझता हूँ उसको वे हमारे सामने जरूर स्पष्ट करने का प्रयत्न करेंगे। और इसलिए सबसे पहले मैं बुलाता हूँ श्रीमान कमलेश जी आर्य, वे अपने विषय की प्रस्तुति करें।
समादरणीय बंधुगण, रमणीक द्वीप फिजी से आप सभी लोगों को हार्दिक नमस्कार। निसंबुला विनाका। हमारा मुद्दा जो है आज आपके सामने प्रस्तुति का, वो जो भारतीय डायस्पोरा है, यानी कि जो हिंदू कौम भारत से बाहर है, हिंदू है लेकिन भारतीय नहीं है क्योंकि वो यहाँ का पैदा नहीं है, यहाँ की उसकी कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है, हालांकि हम यहाँ के थे, कैसे अपने देश में अपने सिद्धांतों को लेकर शिक्षा पर बल दिया और अपने आप को संवारे, ये मेरा प्रमुख विषय है। फिजी की पॉपुलेशन 900,000 है, जिनमें से करीबन 270,000 हिंदू हैं। हम कैसे फिजी पहुँचे उस बात को बाद में लाएंगे, लेकिन यहाँ पर आपको दिखलाते हैं कि क्यों हम लोग शिक्षा पर विशेष ध्यान दिया। स्कूल, प्राइमरी स्कूल, सेकेंडरी स्कूल हमारे सब मिलकर 906 हैं। इनमें से 60% हिंदू लोग संचालित करते हैं। वहाँ पर 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, जिसमें से यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ फिजी, जिसका मैं कुलपति हूँ, रजिस्ट्रार हूँ, वो हिंदुओं के द्वारा संचालित है। वहाँ पर 2 नर्सिंग स्कूल्स हैं, जिसमें से एक हिंदुओं से संचालित है, जो TSI संगम के द्वारा संचालित किया जाता है। हमारी सफ़र यात्रा जो है वो गिरमिट प्रथा से शुरू हुई, जब ब्रिटिश कॉलोनाइजर्स हमारे पितरों को यहाँ से ले जाकर फिजी में बसाया। करीबन 60,000 भारतीय यहाँ से फिजी पहुँचे। ये प्रथा फिजी के लिए 1879 में शुरू हुआ, 1879 में। सबसे पहले बोट जो था वो लियोनिदास था, उसमें 468 भारतीय पहुँचे। उसके बाद में 1916 में हमारी पॉपुलेशन जो थी 60,553 हो गया। थैंक यू। फिर आगे चलते हैं कि हम कैसे अपने आप को संगठित करके और अपने आप को उस बियाबान जंगल वाली जगह को अपनाया और आगे बढ़े। सबसे पहले मैदान में आर्य समाज की सिद्धांत को लेकर जो लोग वहाँ पहुँचे थे, उन्होंने आर्य समाज को कायम की और ये आर्य समाज 1904 में बना। दिसंबर 25 तारीख को बना, क्योंकि साल भर हमारे पूर्वज खेतों में काम करते रहे, केवल 25 तारीख को उनको छुट्टी मिलती रही। इसलिए 25 तारीख को उन्होंने संगठित होकर, जो हमारा भी कैपिटल है सुबह, वहाँ पर मिलकर उन्होंने आर्य समाज का नींव डाला 1904 में। इससे पहले आर्य समाज ने कई जगहों पर छोटी छोटी जो ग्रामीण इनफॉर्मल एजुकेशन सेंटर्स है उनको कायम किया। और आज आर्य समाज फिजी में 15 प्री स्कूल्स, जिसको किंडरगार्टन कहते हैं, 19 प्राइमरी स्कूल, 7 सेकेंडरी कॉलेजेस और 1 यूनिवर्सिटी को संचालित करती है। सबसे पहला हिंदुओं का पाठशाला 1918 में बना, जिसका नाम गुरुकुल दिया गया। उसके बाद में 2005 में यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ फिजी बनी। हम क्यों शिक्षा पर बल दिए? क्योंकि जो लोग यहाँ से भारत से गिरमिट कमाने के लिए फिजी पहुँचे, उनमें से 5% केवल कुछ स्थितियों में पढ़े लिखे थे, बाकी बिल्कुल अनपढ़ गवार साधारण लोग। इसलिए जो 5% पढ़े लिखे समझदार लोग थे, उन्होंने सबसे पहले शिक्षा पर बल दिया। और शिक्षा पर बल इसलिए दिया क्योंकि अगर शिक्षित व्यक्ति होगा तो वेदों को पढ़ सकता है, रामायण को पढ़ सकता है, गीता को पढ़ सकता है, और जो हमारी परंपरा है उसको जागृत कर सकता है। इसलिए फाउंडेशन ऑफ फिजियन हिंदू डायस्पोरा वाज कि हम अपने धर्म की रक्षा के लिए शिक्षा पर बल दें। और ये जो भावना थी वो महर्षि दयानंद की एक कथन पर था कि शिक्षा जो है वो सभी की जिम्मेवारी है, ना कि केवल सरकार की। सरकार तो हमारे विरोध में थी, फिर भी हमारे पास शक्ति हुई कि हम लोग ऐसा किए। और उसके बाद आर्य समाज का एक नियम भी कहता है कि अविद्या का नाश और विद्या की वृद्धि करनी चाहिए। मोस्ट कंपेलिंग अरेंजमेंट वाज कि जो कॉलोनियल गवर्नमेंट था, उसने शिक्षा पर कहा कि अगर भारतीय शिक्षित होना चाहते हैं तो उनको वापस भारत जाना चाहिए। हमारी अवस्था वहाँ पर मजदूरों की है, हम किसान वर्ग के हैं, हम किसानी करें, मर जाएं मिट जाएं, लेकिन शिक्षा पढ़ाई नहीं करनी। वो दूसरा विषय था जिसने भारतीय पढ़े लिखे लोगों को उत्साहित किया कि हम अपने बच्चों को पढ़ाएं। उन्नीस 1904 में आर्य समाज एजुकेशनल लीड प्लेयर हुआ। 1926 में TSI संगम जुटा। 1941 में आंध्रा संगम जुटा। 1952 में गुजरात एजुकेशन सोसाइटी बनी। 1958 में सनातन धर्म बना। 1991 में सिख एसोसिएशन आया। और इन सभी हिंदू संस्थाओं का केंद्र बिंदु था कि हम अपने शिक्षा और धर्म को कायम करने के लिए शिक्षा पर बल दें। लेटर इंटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल कोलैबोरेशन शुरू हुए, क्योंकि अकेला कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे थे, इसलिए सब ने मिलकर एक संगठन बनाई और उन मुद्दों पर बात करना शुरू किया जो हर एक भारतीय पर लागू होता रहा उस समय। वो चाहे आर्य समाजी हो, चाहे सनातनी हो, चाहे सिख हो, चाहे गुजरात संस्था से हो या इस्लाम भाई हो, कोई भी हो, उस मुद्दे पर खड़े हुए कि हम सब भारतीय हैं और हम सब यहाँ पर एक रूप से देखे जाते हैं। और ये जो विषय लिए थे वो हमारा जो थीम है संगच्छध्वम संवदधम, कि हम साथ चले, साथ बोले, साथ किए, उन्होंने बहुत दिन पहले ही शुरू कर दिया, क्योंकि वो जानते थे कि जब तक कलेक्टिव एंटरप्राइजिंग नहीं होगा तब तक हम आगे नहीं बढ़ सकते। फिजी में हिंदू सोशल, कल्चरल, एजुकेशनल और पॉलिटिकल जर्नी बहुत चैलेंजिंग थी हमारे लिए। हिंदू मेजॉरिटी गवर्नमेंट 1999 में उसको सत्ता पलटाव के कारण हटा दिया, 87 में हटाया गया था, फिर उसके बाद में 2000 में भी हटाया गया। और हिंदू जो वहाँ के थे, यानी भारतीय जो वहाँ के थे, वो बहुत ही तकलीफ़ों से गुजरे। ये आपके देखने के लिए है, अब समय बहुत कम है, कैसे कैसे हम अपने आप को आगे बढ़ाए। हम जो थीम है हमारा उस पर कंक्लूड करते हैं। ऋग्वेद का ये मंत्र है, वो कहता है कि हम साथ चलें, अपने विचारों को हार्मोनाइज करें, जो भी रखें सामने वो सबका बल उस पर हो, और हम ईश्वर की आराधना करें ताकि हम स्वर्ग को जा सकें। ये कॉन्फ्रेंस थीम पर हम कह रहे हैं कि हमारा जो विचार हो एकता पूर्ण हो, हम एक विषय को लेकर चलें, हमारा जितनी भी बातें हो सब एक डायरेक्शन में हो, हम कॉमन डिज़ायर्स लेकर चलें, हमारा जो दिल है वो बंधा हुआ हो एक दूसरे के साथ, हमारे इंटेंशंस जो सही हों, और हम परफेक्ट यूनियन में रहें। अभी 2-3 दिन से मैं देख रहा हूँ यहाँ पर कि लोग अपना अपना विचार मुद्दे को लेकर चल पड़ते हैं और बहस करते हैं, और बहस को छोड़ते नहीं, वहाँ पर लगे रहते हैं उस पर। आपने बात कही दी, बात खत्म, लेट हिंदू विश्व परिषद ऑर्गेनाइज दोस थिंग्स। और थीम का अंतिम बात है ये कि जैसे कि हिंदूज फिजी में हर जगह की तरह अपना काम डेप्थ से करते हैं, डॉगमेटिक बिलीफ जो आ जाते हैं वो रोड़ा बन जाते हैं हमारे लिए। हमने यूनिवर्सिटी पर एक कलेक्टिव अरेंजमेंट किया कि सभी धर्म के लोग यूनिवर्सिटी के काउंसिल पर हों, लेकिन कुछ लोग 2-4 दिन आने के बाद अपने आप बगल हो गए, क्योंकि कहे कि मैं आपके साथ या आर्य समाज के साथ या काउंसिल के साथ बात नहीं कर सकता। फिजी हिंदू डायोस्पोरा न कि केवल फिजी में बल्कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया और न्यूजीलैंड और किन्हीं किन्हीं क्षेत्रों में, अमेरिका में भी अपना योगदान दिया है। और ऑस्ट्रेलिया न्यूजीलैंड में उनकी कार्य क्षेत्र रिलीजन और एजुकेशन में बहुत ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पर अपना योगदान देते हैं। और ये हमारे लिए खुशी की बात है कि हम लोगों ने फिजी से पढ़ा लिखा विद्वान, डॉक्टर, मास्टर, टीचर, लॉयर, ये सब ऑस्ट्रेलिया और न्यूजीलैंड भेजकर वहाँ पर हिंदुओं की संगठन बड़ा की, और वहाँ पर हिंदू की जो विचारधाराएं वो जागृत हुई। क्रिएटिंग नेटवर्किंग रिसोर्सेज फॉर सिविलाइजेशन फॉर री इमर्जेंस। किसी ने कहा हम कभी डूबे नहीं थे तो ऊपर नहीं आना है, हम थे, हैं और रहेंगे। तो इसलिए मैं यही कहता हूँ कि हम भी फिजी में हैं, रहें, हैं और रहेंगे, और आपका योगदान हो तो हम फिजी को भी छोटा भारत, जैसे भी कहते हैं लिटिल इंडिया, वैसे ही बनाकर जागृत रखें।
Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Sri Ramesh Saha, Coordinator Ekal Global USA. Ekal Vidyalaya Yojana in itself a fantastic Yojana, wonderful Yojana. And now the workers of this Ekal Yojana is running more than 55,000 Ekal Vidyalaya in remote areas all over this land. Sri Ramesh Saha.
नमस्कार। मैं तो ये जो कार्य चल रहा है उसका विवेचन ही करूँगा, क्योंकि जिन्होंने शुरू किया, जिन्होंने इसको आगे बढ़ाया और जिन्होंने इतनी मेहनत की है एक कार्य को लाने के लिए, वो सबको नमस्कार करते। हमारे 22 मिलियन भारतीय जो भारत से बाहर रहते हैं, उन सबका आपको नमस्कार करते हैं। I'll go through the slides first so that you can see. You can see this holistic development, and I think we have discussed all other educational thinking, so I will come back to that later on. And education, not only functional education, but to have healthcare education, economic education, and empowerment education, so you know who you are, how you can come out of the things. This is our basic education. 100% literacy we want to keep in a tribal and a rural area. Ekal is not a formal education. We have been discussing a lot of policies, as Aryaji mentioned also, and of course how we can change the whole world in one day. It's not going to happen, but somebody has to do at the grassroots level and to understand what happened. This particular work we started in 1989. In Dhanbad, one school, one teacher going on a bicycle or motorcycle. Later on, for 10 years, the experiment was done for 10 years in South Bihar, which is Jharkhand now. Those 10 years gave us a lot of information. So something to change a policy overnight is not going to give us the answer. Somebody has to experiment it and put it to the people to see if it really works. This experiment worked very well since 1998. We expanded all over the country slowly from Orissa, Bihar, all other places. So right now, we come in the slide, our biggest achievement, or we think we are doing it, is to have children interested in the education. You see the pictures. I had an opportunity and good luck to do a Bharat Vandana in 2013 from February to April, to go from Assam to all the way to Kanyakumari. And that opened up our eyes, because living in America 45 years, you don't know all these things. That what happened for 67 years after Azadi, that there is no power, there is no water, there is no education, there is no housing, there are no roads, simple things, which we took it for granted where I come from in Gujarat, or for that reason in US. And this is what makes us think that people who started this thing in those days has to have that commitment. वो बोलते हैं ना हमारे गीत में, शपथ लेना तो सरल है पर निभाना बहुत कठिन है। शपथ तो ले लिया कि मैं कर लूँगा, लेकिन उसको 25 सालों तक चलाना, अपने कार्यकर्ताओं को इतनी हिम्मत देना, उनमें देश भावना जगाना, और हम उनको देते हैं क्या? मानधन। जो वहाँ ट्रैवल करे, मैं जितने मित्रों को कह सकूं कि आप उनको सपोर्ट करें ना करें दूसरी बात है, जाके देखें, उससे सिवा अच्छा कोई काम नहीं होगा। तब मालूम होगा कि भारतीय संस्कृति कहाँ लगी है, भारतीय संस्कृति को टिकाने के लिए हमको क्या करना चाहिए। अर्बन एरिया में करेंगे, श्योर, हम सबको अच्छा लगता है कि मेरे बेटा डॉक्टर बने, इंजीनियर बने, या तो आईटी में चले जाए, आईआईटी में चला जाए। वहाँ जहाँ इतने लोग हैं, 600,000 villages, out of that we hardly reached 55,000. And those villages where hardly anybody looked into that. Somebody said that other people went there because we did not go there. And that's why we left them out. We call them forgotten brothers and sisters of India. These are the additional education. Slowly we started in 2004, healthcare education, basically preventive healthcare measures, empowerment education, how to use RTI, how to take not activism, but interest in finding how we can change the society or ask the government what they are supposed to do. And development education. They have to also become economically viable. They have to also earn living. In Arogya, we are doing healthcare camps. 70% of women in tribal area are anemic. And sure, even you find in the big cities also, but this is eye-opening for us. So we started doing the anemia camp, mostly right now in Jharkhand, also in Tamil Nadu, and other states we are expanding. These are the numbers. Since we have about 54,049 schools, we expect another 6,000. By next April, it will be 60,000 schools. About 1.5 million children already studied, 1.5 million are already enrolled in the schools right now. These are the numbers. Now, it is not just giving bread and butter to the villagers so that they can depend on us. The purpose is to make them self-sufficient. So slowly, we are increasing what you call state voluntary organizations who support locally. Those schools are about 10,000. We have state-supported chapters, about 10,000 more. And remaining outside, money comes from, a lot of money comes from within India. We from US support about 13,000 schools, but majority support is coming from within India, which I will discuss in a minute. When you say central support is basically FTS, Bharatiya Lok Shiksha Parishad, and EVFI, basically money coming from US and other countries, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, Muscat, all these areas. Now, what do we, 20,000 rupees a school for 1 year, 30, 35 children studying. How much we pay to the teacher, what we call mandan, 1,000 rupees per month. So about 12,000, 60% we pay to the teacher. Teaching material takes about 3%, 27% goes in training. Our biggest effort in this teaching is the teachers are local. They are not brought from outside. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan spends about 40,000 crore rupees a year, and yet nothing happens there. We're not blaming them. That is a system. We have to accept the system and make a change. So most of our schools now operate after the government schools are done. So maybe 4 o'clock, some places 5 o'clock, and they teach for 3 hours. From the cost point, our overhead is hardly about 10%. But real cost, if you want to see, is this. Yes, we take about 20,000 rupees from donors to operate one school. But then there is a opportunity cost. Teacher, we don't pay full payment. So they almost 20,000, they basically bear on their own. Karyakartas, this is a real story. One who travels, those people 25 days in a month are traveling within their states. There also we hardly pay them maybe 2,500, 3,000 rupees a month. They also have opportunity cost. And our Samiti people, there are a lot of Samiti people are here from all over the country. They travel, they see, they support Karyakarta teachers. Twice in a year, local Samitis collect money to give them gifts because we don't pay much. During Sakrant and also during in South, I think we do in the September, October. Diwali, but it's Sankrant and Pongal, yes, Pongal time. This is a breakdown of funding coming from all over the world. Total funding majority comes from FTS, then BLSP, then self-voluntary organization, and ECOL USA supports about 12,000 last year. This year will be about 13,000. This is the growth, about 19%. From 2000 onwards, we supported from 2,000 schools to about 54,000 now. And this is another statistical dimension where we have schools. You can see In Kerala and Gujarat, we don't have as many. But if you see Andhra Pradesh, even Jammu and Kashmir, we have about 3,200 schools. Jharkhand. And these are the areas, those who travel. Here, of course, those who travel, they know a lot. But people like us who come from out of country, unless you see the remote areas, you don't appreciate what is happening there. This is Right to Education Act we are using. I have only 1.5 minutes. Two things I wanted to come to leave behind so you can think what is happening. One, a teacher has to be local. You cannot have from Assam person going to Gujarat or from Kanyakumari going to UP. So local people, local language, local this thing. And this is what is taught in local language. If you Gujarat, Gujarati, Maharashtra, Marathi, Tamil, Tamil. Language, math, storytelling, that is where Sanskriti comes in the picture. Khelkud, there also we teach math in that one. And also, Sath, we teach them to live together. A teacher being from local village has a lot to do. She is not just teacher, she is a sister, probably she is a mother, she is probably the elder sister. Okay. Then our biggest work yet to be done, and I have one challenge that, yes, we discuss all the theories and all the policy making and this thing. My only request is, yes, we should do, because urban as well as rural, both are part of Bharat, and they have to be addressed. But let us do experiment. Policy, so every government comes and will change the policies. But can we do some experiments, see really it is working? And here the examples, and of course, in higher education, you will hear from Vidya Bharati what they have done. One of the work which Sangha Parivar gave us ideology, inspiration, and also support. This is where we began, and we will continue for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And the last information that we just had a work with Afghanistan. One team came from Afghanistan. They wanted to learn how we can use Ekal Vidyalaya model. So maybe in future we may have other places also we can use this model. Namaskar. Thank you. We appreciate religious activities like community temples, but you will agree that by spreading education only, we can actually spread Hindutva, ultimately also Rashtra Nirman. Thank you.
As we saw, this Ekal Vidyalaya Yojana is running more than 55,000 schools in remote areas. They are not merely literating them, but the sanskar of patriotism and this Hindu-ness is also a matter of their education सिस्टम. मैं अब आमंत्रित करता हूं विद्या भारती के श्रीमान दिलीप वसंत बेटेकर जी को. हम जानते हैं विद्या भारती के माध्यम से सारे देश भर में 13,000 अच्छे विद्यालय चल रहे हैं, जिनके माध्यम से लाखों की संख्या में विद्यार्थी समाज जीवन में अध्ययन करने के बाद स्थापित हुए हैं. अभी तक हमने देखा एक नॉन फॉर्मल एजुकेशन का एक स्वरूप, अब हम सुनेंगे एक फॉर्मल एजुकेशन का स्वरूप जो विद्या भारती के द्वारा सारे देश भर में स्थापित किया है. श्रीमान दिलीप वसंत बेटेकर जी.
My humble pranam to all the beloved sons and daughters of Ma Sharada who have come from different nooks and corners of the world. Post-lunch session is always dangerous. And I came across one beautiful thought which says in Hindi, अच्छे लोगों का सोना बुरा होता है, बुरे लोगों का सोना अच्छा होता है. It's irony that there is education in Bharat, but there is no Bharat in education. This is the irony of. And all the problems our country is facing as far as education is concerned, they all stem out from this one single irony, that there is education in Bharat, but there is no Bharat in education. Vidya Bharati's attempt, our aim is very clear over here. Our aim is to develop a national system of education which would help to build a generation of young men and women that is committed to Hindutva and infused with patriotic fervor, fully developed physically, vitally, mentally, and spiritually. I'll not go into the details, but this is the major thrust Vidya Bharati insists upon. Next. This is the numerical figure of Vidya Bharati. We have about 13,514 schools. This is a formal. Number of students 31,37,930 and 1,36,231 committed teachers. The only problem of teaching community education is lack of committed teachers. And Tagore has said it very beautifully, the real education can be imparted only by the teacher and not by any method. Next. The salient features of Vidya Bharati. The first Shishu Mandir was started in Gorakhpur in UP, 1952. Today, Vidya Bharati has emerged as the largest educational NGO in the world with schools in the states of Bharat. All the states of Bharat are covered. Shishivatika is a unique model without any burden of school bag, based on activities and giving more thrust on sanskar. Next. Gramin Shiksha, Janajatiya Shiksha, that is the education of the tribal region. And we have a beautiful forum of the ex-students which comprise a big number of students which are passed out from Vidya Bharati schools, and they take up different responsibilities today. Matru Bharati is a forum for mothers, and they are doing wonderful work. Let me share over here, the mothers of Kerala, they collected approximately 58 lakh rupees for education. That is very commendable work done by the mothers of Kerala. Vidvat Parishad is an academic council. Then there is continuous training and motivational sessions for the teachers, headmasters, management, members, and organizers. We have been all listening to various speakers and who have been insisting on the knowledge and skills. They are important, no doubt about it. But more importantly, it is the attitude that matters. And when I speak about attitude, I always would like to emphasize on positive attitude, winning attitude, and attitude of gratitude. And this attitude, with the help of attitude only, attitude determines the altitude of success. So it is the attitude that matters. The infrastructure is there, but if there is no proper attitude, nothing could be worked out, nothing can come out. And we have other things. This is a unique examination or this Yojana, Pariyojana, Sanskriti Bodha Pariyojana, wherein the students, children, and the aim of this examination is to imbibe spirit of patriotism and nationalism among the children, to introduce the young generation to the glorious history of Bharat, to transmit and transfer our rich cultural heritage among budding population of Bharat, to brief the students about the achievements of Bharat in various fields. And today, 17 lakh children participate in this program, which is conducted in 11 different languages, and online examination facilities also available for the convenience of our brothers who are from abroad. Next. Vidya Bharati students top the merit list of state boards of UP, Assam, Odisha, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, MP, Himachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. And I have a piece of small information to be shared with you today. I got it right today only. There is a National Institute of Open School, and our student Aswati from Kerala, she has topped the NIO examination of 2013 and 14 in Bharat and Commonwealth. This is something achievement. For last 3 years consecutively, the children or the three top rankers of this examination are from Malappuram district of Kerala. 97 educational magazines in different languages are being published. We also, our principals have been national awardees. Vidya Bharati has set up an educational research institute recognized by Lucknow and Kanpur universities. Vidya Bharati has signed a member of understanding with Somnath University, Gujarat, to conduct certificate course in Sanskrit and Vedic maths. And there is growing demand for these two subjects. Recently, Vidya Bharati unit of Odisha, they have been awarded by Times of India, and this Think Odisha Leadership Award for Education Institute of Excellence for 2014 was given away to the Odisha unit of Vidya Bharati. Our students figure in civil service examinations, IIT, IIM, medical and other competitive examinations. Accomplishments of Vidya Bharati, our publication department participates in various book exhibitions. 106 books have been published. Numerous workshops, seminars, symposiums are organized to create an awareness on nationalistic education ideology and models. Next. We have also social commitments. Vidya Bharati students always rise to the call of the people during the various natural calamities like earthquake, flood, famine. Vidya Bharati students contribute yearly 10 crore rupees to facilitate education of the borders of Bharat like northeast frontiers. Special attention is being given towards northeastern region and coastal area where there are many anti-national activities rampant. Next. And there is education in Bharat, which I said earlier, but no Bharat in education. Bharat has become independent once. We have to make Bharat independent again. In 1947, we became independent. That's a political independence. Bharat has become independent once. We have to make Bharat independent again. And the second independence will be through education. Let us all strive to attain the second independence. Thank you very much for your patient ears.
विद्या भारती के बहुत बड़े काम को छोटे से में हम लोगों ने सुना और ध्यान में आया कि देश के दूरस्थ स्थान जो है बिल्कुल रिमोट एरियाज है, चाहे चाइना का बॉर्डर है, चाहे वो म्यांमार का बॉर्डर है, विद्या भारती के विद्यालय बहुत अच्छे से चल रहे हैं। विद्या भारती के विद्यालय के पढ़े हुए विद्यार्थी देश भर में बहुत अच्छे अच्छे स्थानों पर प्रामाणिकता के साथ संस्कार को लेकर के बढ़ रहे हैं। आई विल हैव द ऑनर टू इनवाइट पंडित Bhadesi Sheetal Maharaj Ji, Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, Trinidad and Tobago, how they have got success of Hindu schools in Trinidad and Tobago.
Sitaram, Sitaram. Siarama mai saba jagajani, karahu pranam jori jugapani. For 169 years, the Hindu presence in another part of the world, Trinidad and Tobago, has been thriving and flourishing. And so we have come here to join with all, and we have listened to some wonderful experiences that have been shared in various conferences, and we too want to join in sharing our small experience and our small contribution towards the sustenance and propagation of Sanatan Dharma, of Hindu Dharma in another part of the world. And so I have my presentation in my pocket and I'll leave it there because as a teacher, I'm sure I'll capture your attention for the next 10 minutes or so. So here goes. Just a very quick, brief historical background. We have had the presence of Hindus and Hinduism in Trinidad and Tobago, which is in the West Indies. And I would not tell you where West Indies is. It's a landmass. But I think what is very important for all of us as the Hindu leadership in the world, it is our business, it must be our research to find out where Hindus are in every part of the world and to learn a little bit of where they are and what they are doing. So that must become a responsibility for all of us. But in 1492, the Spanish explorer Christopher Columbus, searching for India, landed up in the West Indies. He was searching for India and landed in the West Indies. So you see the karmic connection between India and the West Indies, and Trinidad is one of 20-odd islands in the West Indies. And so during that time, that part of the world went through various colonial rulers. We had the British, the French, and the Spanish. But ultimately, in the time of the British, to revive the flagging fortunes of the sugarcane plantations, Indian indentured individuals were brought largely from UP and Bihar. So most of our foreparents came from UP and Bihar to revive the plantations, which were financially floundering in that time. And for the period 1845 to 1917, during that period of time, many indentured laborers to work on the sugarcane plantations and the rice plantations and other types of work came to Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, and other smaller islands in the West Indies. But primarily between Trinidad and Guyana, most of the indentured laborers came. And at the end of indenture period, land was given to those who came to work on the plantations. And we all know the Hindu affinity with the land. It is not something that is given up. And so most of the indentured laborers thereafter chose to remain on the plantation. Well, that has gone, and they were now owners of the land. So from being workers on the land, they became the owners of the land. And since that period of time, there is constant movement between Trinidad and Tobago and India. And so even though Indian indentured labor came to an end in 1917, there has been constant movement between people from Bharat into Trinidad and Tobago. There was never a year or a period where there was not any movement. And so in Trinidad and Tobago currently, we have people from every state in Bharat living and marrying and working in Trinidad and Tobago. And we too, many Trinidadians have married in Bharat and live across here. In fact, my first cousin, just half an hour from here in Saket, she got married to a former minister's son, Tyagi, and she lives nearby in Saket. Simply to say that the constant movement between our land and this land never came to an end with the cessation or the end of indentured labor during that period, 1845 to 1917. So our presence over a prolonged period of 169 years, that period has given birth and growth and rise to the practice and propagation of Sanatan Hindu Dharma in our small corner of the world of 1.3 million people, of which 250,000 are Hindus. So we have a very flourishing and thriving and solidified group of Hindus consolidated in actions and activities and events to ensure that we maintain properly our Sanatan Dharma, which our foreparents came with them from India. And so during that period of time, we have had a former Prime Minister, Basdev Pandey, whom some of you would remember. He went back to his ancestral village and met all his relatives. Our current Prime Minister, Shrimati Kamla Prasad Bisesar, she went back to her community and found all her relatives there. And she has been only the second Hindu woman in the world to become a Prime Minister. So think about that. Only in India, only in Trinidad and Tobago has a Hindu woman risen to the Prime Ministership of a country. And so in brief, that's a little or a short historical background. But in any context and in any condition, living in a country and surviving and maintaining the Hindu values, we live in secular states, all of us. We live in secular states. So there will always be a sense of tension. There will always be a certain amount of friction existing in the preservation of Hindu values and what is considered as secular governance. And so we too experience that. But while we talk about the success of our schools, the antecedents, or what comes before, each factor that comes before, and what are the things to be considered and required to be done to ensure our preservation, those are the things that have ultimately ensured in the success of our schools. And so even though there's political tension, there will be governments that are favorable or accommodating to us. And when there is a change in political regime, there are times when the government is not so accommodating to us. But what is important is that we have developed the leadership. We have developed the leadership and the capacity and the capability to understand the political culture and the political environment of any moment, and therefore to act accordingly. And this is a big message for all of us, wherever we live. It is how we interact and the political culture we develop in our own religious organizations. That is what is required and necessary for us to ensure our own preservation. And so we have to become elastic. We have to know when to stretch, and we have to know when to contract. And it is that kind of strategic thinking that will help us to continue till the end of time. Kalpant me, at the end of the kalpa, we will still, if there is any dharma that will still be in the world, it is Sanatan Hindu Dharma will be present at the end of the world. There are those that will come into existence and go out, but we came in at the beginning of creation and will still be here at the end of creation. And so, therefore, understanding the political culture and environment and conditions in which we must all exist, and wherever we are in the world, that is a constant. Those are the things that we live, the environment we live in, and what we have to consider. And so our own organization, the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, and may I just take a moment, I saw him, I asked our venerable leader, Shri Sat Maharaj, to kindly stand. If he's here, yes, he's here. I just want you to give a slight acknowledgement to our leader. Shri Sat Maharaj, he is 84 years, a very close friend of Shri Ashok Singhal-ji, and he has been to Bharat over 25 times during his period of leadership of our organization. But sufficient to say at this point in time that our organization, Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, has learned how to respond to the challenges of leadership. If we are fixed in a leadership mold, then at some point in time, our organization will suddenly find itself dying. And so we have to develop the cultureship of leadership. Generally, people entrust leadership to those who are well-liked. Well, as we all know, that is only one element of leadership. Leadership has to be strategic, manage risk, manage transformation, manage change, manage all the various resources. All of those are elements of leadership that we have learned over the period of 169 years how to manage and develop. And so in our organization, we have professionals from every field. We have many pundits on our executive. We have businessmen, we have doctors, lawyers, high court judges, the full spectrum of leadership. And each individual will bring a certain value to our organization. And so even though individuals come and go over a period of 169 years, we have maintained a solid organization. We have developed processes and systems and structures to ensure that we are currently able to do all that is required to do. And when things change, we too have to respond to change. The only difference is we respond to change proactively. We don't wait, and when change comes, then we try to think and to figure out and to contemplate what is to be done. We try to be very proactive in understanding all the changes that are happening, not only in Trinidad, not only in the West Indies, but all the changes that are happening in the world and how they impact on us, how they affect us, and ultimately how we respond to all the various challenges that come our way. And so we too have developed a strategic governance model that we do not lead from what's in our head. We have to document and plan all the things that are necessary, all the roles that are necessary to understand and to fill and to perform. We have all of those things well understood and agreed, and therefore we have been able to implement all of those things. So we have entered into school construction. We have built 43 primary schools. We have 5 secondary schools. We have 16 early childhood centers. And they are the highest performing schools by any religious board in any part of the West Indies. That our primary schools are top performers. The students win many scholarships, and they are well sought after for entry at all levels, from 3 to 5 years, from 6 years, and thereafter our schools are very much sought after. And so our curriculum, and we just heard that in some places Bharat is not in education. Well, fortunately in Trinidad, Bharat is very much in education. And so every morning, our children, for half an hour in all the schools, half an hour of singing of bhajans, Hanuman Chalisa, Ramayan chanting, Gita Shlok chanting, all of those things, not only on mornings, but throughout the day, everything is there. We follow the advice of Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhanam Labhate Jnanam, Shraddhanam Labhate Jnanam. From faith, everything else, all the knowledge will come. As we say, it's a wonderful gathering like this, and I'll wrap up in a minute because, I could talk for 12 hours like this. But so many individuals, almost everybody here has some professor, doctor, chief justice before their name. Almost everybody else has BA, MA, LLB, and so on. Goswami Tulsidas, he had none of those. Sant Tulsidas. All of us have traveled all over the world to all kinds of conferences. He did none of that. He ran from Ayodhya, Allahabad, Kashi, and he gave us all the knowledge in the world. And so we have followed the model of religion in education, not the other way around. Religion first, and all the forms of education are anchored in that. And so we have cultivated our relationships with all the stakeholders, other religious boards. We have become the leadership there. And so we continue to build on our own experiences. We have a very high-performing education system. We understand the environment and the culture and the context in which we operate. We agree and define and plan and implement all those things that are required to be done. And so our way forward, lastly, therefore, in any education system, there are 3 main levels: the early childhood, the primary, and the secondary. In Trinidad and Tobago, by May of next year, every child 3 to 5 years will be in a preschool center. And we have one of the best models in the world. In many of our schools on the same compound, there is a preschool, a primary school, a secondary school, and a mandir in most of our schools. So when you come on morning, the first thing, the students go in the mandir, they offer flower, tulsi, wave arati, and then they go for their secular education. And in more and more of our school compounds, we are going to establish and have these 4 things. At the front of every compound, a mandir, preschool, primary school, and secondary school. So in our part of the world, this has been in brief our education experience, how we have put education to rest on a foundation of religion. And therefore, our success has come from that process. Sitaram.
In this session, we heard these 4 learned speakers from various aspects. And now, if some questions or some queries are there, I would like to, you may ask, and all these 4 are here, and please, you can stand at your place, and you can ask question if you have anyone. मैं आपसे अपेक्षा करूंगा कोई हम में से कोई प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं तो हमारे चारों विद्वान वक्ता हमारे बीच में हैं, कोई प्रश्न हम लोग अपने स्थान से खड़े होकर के पूछेंगे, लेकिन बहुत संक्षेप में बोलना है, कुछ सेकंड्स में अपनी बात को हम लोग पूरा करें.
Chairman, through you, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to express two issues at the outset because I ran out of time. One is that throughout the 2 days I've been here, I've established that Hindus in Bharat are trying to reclaim their space. In Fiji, the Hindus are trying to create their space. So there's a very distinct difference. And I thought I'll let you know, in case in future you come and say, look, where are your Hindu arrangements? You'll have to see within the context of a secular state. We are creating a space, not reclaiming the space. The other thing is that, not a question, I need to express this because I am a trustee of a university and the registrar. I am stating it here because we are part of the whole. We come from the same progeny, we have the same thinking, and we want to state this so that in the future, if you see the second last slide of my presentation, how we can collaborate. University of Fiji has been employing a lot of professors, associate professors and doctors from India. There are two things that I want to stress. One, highly qualified professors from India have one deficiency for the English-speaking world, that English is of a very low profile. So you must improve on that if you want to impact education outside of Bharat. You have the potential, but you don't have the means. Two, the difficulty I have as the registrar in the University of Fiji is that the professors we employ come with an attitude that they know all. I'm stating it here because when I go back, I'll be employing 4 more whom we have already interviewed, but they need a letter of appointment which I haven't signed yet. When you come to a third world, and primarily where mode of education is English, you need to assimilate, not dictate. If you can't assimilate, then in a third world developing countries, your environmental situation will be difficult. In 10 years of existence of University of Fiji, I have lost 4 very good professors because of attitude. One went there, stayed 9 months, brought his family, sent his family back and disappeared. We don't know where he is right now. He hasn't lived up to his contractual arrangements. 2, medical personnel came, the father got sick, they disappeared.
This time is primarily meant for the... Yes,
True,
sir,
true.
So we have to give them time, sir. So we
I
have
think
to
I
be
have made my
respectful.
point.
Yes, please.
I need people who would be able to deliver.
Just wanted to congratulate the organization for collecting such galaxy of people and sharing their experience. But one thing I would like to bring out of this, that can't we work together to create education system that will fit and that will still maintain Sanatan Dharma all over the world, wherever we go. Thank you.
My name is Paramadvaiti Swami. I'm working in South America with education. We have started an educational model called faith education, which is based on that the student at some point has to be able to decide what is his faith. But spirituality, nevertheless, is a foundation of the learning experience rather than an exclusive thing. All the things I heard today, especially about the expansion of the schools in Bharat, this is so amazing. But then our professor said there's a lack of Bharat in this. So my Guruji, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he explained that Bharat means Ba, the Bhav, Ra, the music, the Rag, and Ta, the Tala, the rhythm of life. So I've also been working as an environmentalist. So when I came to India, I was attracted by Mahatma Gandhi, the spinning of the thread, and the Kati Bhavan, to where it is a protective, what cloths we buy, we are not falling into the trap of the industries. Now, there was a question raised, what is the meaning of education? Is it just economic development? I think Bharata teaches us something different. It teaches us that the goal of education is sustainability in harmony with Bhumi Mata, our sacred Mother Earth. Because we see on the way of progress, we see the garbage lies everywhere, and where the miners go or the big industries go, they're leaving disaster behind, even death. So this cannot be the goal of our education, to create an amazing amount of industries everywhere. So therefore, of course, RSS, the whole effort for Hindu education, it is giving so much hope. And we want this for the whole world, not just for Bharat, because this is the message. So my personal contribution is that I request all of you, please help to create sustainable living as the goal of our Bharat education.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't have any question, but I only like to comment. My comment is that Ramesh Shahji has wonderfully, in a very short span of time, narrated about the Ekal Vidyalaya experiment. But one thing more I also would like to point out, that during my experience of 15 years almost with the Ekal Vidyalaya, having toured about the very many states of the country, I feel that the very major part, apart from the things which Rameshji has narrated, is that they have brought the richest part of the society to the dedicated workers. The dedicated workers have worked hard, but at the same time, the richest strata of the society, they have contributed not only financially, but physically and emotionally also, by spreading the message of Ekal Vidyalaya to the masses. And that is a very big contribution of Ekal Vidyalaya movement, especially in a country where there is a divide of rich and poor, city and village, and rural, tribal areas. This has been inculcated. Thank you.
I am from Colombia, and I am working with education also, and with how this Hindu culture help the people in South America. Because in West, there are many people that are only looking for money and looking for economic development and forgetting the values and the sense of their life. But we think that the ancient wisdom, the ancestral wisdom like this, that like the wisdom also in South America of the native peoples, is very important for the world. And I want to ask to Mr. Representative of Trinidad and Tobago. Sorry, I didn't remember. Sorry. You know West, how is there? No? And what do you think about what is the importance of this knowledge to help the world? What is the value more important that is very important to rescue the youth in this moment in West and here? And if you think that the follow or the window culture have a responsibility to teach this knowledge to help the world.
Education everywhere. We right now follow like a Western model everywhere. But if you come back to see, as a lot of our speakers have mentioned, if you put this into practice in life, Hindu education just doesn't come just by teaching in a school. Teachers as well as the parents have to put in practice to show that yes, it works. And this in Colombia, I don't know, I think our Swamiji went there a long time back, but there also, I'm sure the system, as it is much family-oriented system. As far as I know in Mexico as well as Colombia, they like the family. If we can put this thought process together, that yes, within the education you have to have moral value, your family value, and care for your nation. This is the things what brings us into thinking that dharma, as we say, it's not like a religion per se, but dharma. Dharma is your activities, your duties in daily life. And if we put this thing into practice in education in Colombia or anywhere in the world, it will make a difference.
You asked a very important question, and I just want to add one more aspect to what you were saying. And you have a very beautiful country. I went there on an education conference, and it's really a beautiful country. But what's important out of what you are asking really is how do we network and share information and share materials, and how do we add structure and process. So while we say it is Ramayana and family values, for instance, then what is the material we prepare out of that which gives the message, so that you could use particular and specific materials to convey whatever it is you want to convey by lifting the values. And I think there is great value in what you are saying. How do we support each other by accumulating the best of materials, the best of thoughts, and the best way to convey what we want to share. And if we have those things, then we'll all be helpful to each other. We'll all help each other to rise even more than the present degree that we are in. So it's something to take very seriously, and I'm sure all of us have emails and numbers from this conference, and I believe it is extremely necessary hereafter that we continue to share what we have and to share the space and the knowledge and whatever we have developed. Many of us have developed curriculum materials. We have developed formal curricula that will implement many of these things. And so if someone is looking for something, then a structured approach is required. And understanding the structure and understanding the materials and the resources to effect the structure, those are things if we share amongst ourselves, we'll all be well served.
Is there a Sanskrit subject there in our schools in Trinidad and Fiji?
Well, Hindi is there. There are many schools that do Hindi up to what we call in India, in Bharat, what is called matriculation. We called it the old English model of ordinary level and advanced level. So many individuals do that. In all our mandirs, Hindi is taught as often, and there in our country, Trinidad and Tobago, for many years, at least 50, 60 years, the Office of the High Commissioner in India has always conducted classes throughout our country. So that from the Mahatma Gandhi Cultural Institute, Hindi teachers come, dance teachers come, all of those come. From my organization, Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, we have always brought, this is just Trinidad. So,
thank you. In Fiji, Hindi is compulsory at education level. It is part of the constitution now that Hindi will remain a teachable subject in secondary, primary, and people take it up as undergraduate level in universities. We have had flying visits of Sanskrit scholars who come and do short-term programs for interested people. But University of Fiji is in the process of establishing a department within the language department of Sanskrit. May I put to the audience here, there are vice chancellors here of various universities. If you want to share your Sanskrit knowledge with the small little India in the Pacific. You could create a chair, which means you will have to support the staff. We will accommodate the staff so that we can bring on board teaching of Sanskrit in the Fijian nation. Thank you.
I feel time is now over. We have to come again at 4:15. So we can discuss.
One more.
Of course.
Friends, I'm just...
Chalu.
Okay. Friends, I just would like to only add, just for half a minute, to the question what she has asked, and myself having been all over the globe and having worked in the West and the East and in the country, being an industrialist and then now in the education. I just want to say there is nobody in this world who says that he doesn't want happiness. And Hindu education is a stepping stone for making happiness and for bringing happiness to one's own life and to spread the happiness all around. Now, this is the one which we should realize, and it is not the materialistic life which she mentioned it. This is all what I wanted to say.
Discussion will go on in next session also.